Welcome to the DraftKings Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. First things first, I mean, we talked about this on the pitcher nail down. 10 pitchers under 5K on this site. So, I mean, I would think there's going to be some offense scored, but, you know, that's just my general guess.
I'd say that's a pretty solid guess there. It's a pretty solid guess there, Jason. Back to you in the studio.
Where are you from exactly? What accent was that?
That was a news weatherman out on the scene.
Just anywhere
out
in
on
particular?
The scene. Probably in the center of town, a small town where like there was extra wind, like 20-mile-per-hour wind instead of 15, you know? So they sent me out there to get some highlights.
Population of about 87.
Some paper swirling around in the common parking lot.
Yeah, you're in a big yellow jacket.
Yeah, but it was still like 75 and sunny out. Yeah.
All right, Marlins and Phillies here. Jose Urena, Vincent Velasquez, and I know you were intrigued with the Marcell Ozuna price tag at 2.8. I mean, very cheap in consideration to all those other guys who are priced up relatively high when they're facing a decent pitcher like Velasquez.
Yeah, it's not a perfect matchup for Ozuna, but at the same time, 2,800, you can fit him right into any lineup, really, pretty much. I mean, you can pay up for a lot of positions and still get that 2,800 in there. So I do like that quite a bit. At the same time, don't necessarily want to go at Vince Velasquez, so obviously not stacking options there.
No, I definitely don't think so either. And I mean, I'm not really intrigued with this game as far as offense goes in general. I mean, I'm not really looking to use the Phillies on a 15-game slate at some of their prices. They're all priced relatively high. So I think just for me, I mean, I like the Marcell Ozuna value. I mean, outside of that, I'm just not a big fan of offense.
Yeah, those Herrera and Franco prices are just out of control. Not something I'd want to touch.
No, definitely not. Pirates and Brewers here, and I think it's just kind of the same story for me as far as McCutchen, Kang, relatively cheap. I think I could see myself definitely using them for value tonight. I don't mind them hitting 3 and 4 in the lineup. I know Junior Guerra has been pretty solid, but I mean he's not unbeatable. So I think I am looking at those two guys. He's given up a pretty high hard ball rate to right-handers too.
Yeah, tough to get behind Starling Marte with Kang and McCutchen there for basically 2K cheaper. I think we just roll with those guys if you're going at the Pirates lineup.
Yeah, and they have some like really deep value. I mean, John Jaso 2,500, Josh Harrison 2,300. It just seems like, I mean, if you need to punt, there are some options here on the Pirates. It's odd.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely agree there. And in terms of those values, like you mentioned, McCutchen Kang and then Jaso Harrison, I mean, that's a really cheap stack that you could fit in the two high-end pitchers and maybe even a little something extra.
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about Talion on the pitching pod, and these Brewers prices are definitely intriguing. I mean, Scooter Gennett at 3-1. Ryan Braun, Luke Roy, I mean, capable. Those are the guys you're kind of worried about. So yeah. I think those 2, 3, 4 guys are definitely worth a look. I think we were talking about Talion being a GPP option. I think those 3 are kind of GPPs for me as well.
Yeah, standalones for me too. But yeah, I do like that grouping. The middle of the lineup there, they are pretty reasonably priced. So solid.
Yeah, definitely. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Pirates put up a couple of runs and you got some nice value return.
Mm-hmm.
Dodgers and Nationals here, Reynaldo Lopez or Scott Kazmir. And whenever a guy who's making, the debut is going to look at this team and you're not going to be quite sure what you're going to get out of them. I mean, could be completely rocky and have a bad start, or because the Dodgers have never seen him before, they're a little bit off. And at those prices, they're not really on my radar tonight. I can't really get behind. I mean, usually I like the Dodgers a little bit more, but I think just value considered, I'm not really a big fan.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's just super expensive. I mean, across the board, they're all priced up. So while I do like that lineup tonight, probably not going to be something I get a ton of exposure to, but that 1 through 3 is in play.
Yeah, they definitely are in play, and at least by far the cheapest option. I mean, Justin Turner 5-1, Seager 4-9. Those are just kind of expensive guys that.
Right.
You know?
It's kind of like if you're doing that, just go all the way because they're not going to be high owned. And it's just, ugh. I think it would be tough to like honestly fit those in from a value perspective. That's more of just, all right, I'm being contrarian with this lineup.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And the national side, I mean, I like the righties. I like Ramos. I like Jason Worth. I don't mind Trey Turner up top, at his value. You just look at Kazmer, I mean, relatively average against righties this year. I mean, 3.36 WOBA allowed, 1.51 home runs per nine. So, give me some of those right-handers in that lineup. I don't mind them at their prices.
Yeah, especially Worth. Obviously, he just mashes lefties. So that's kind of what you're looking at there.
Yeah, definitely. And Orioles Yankees. This one was a real bummer last night, but I'm not expecting the same thing here. And you got to like a lot of these prices. I mean, once again, Machado super cheap at 3-1 or at 4-1. Chris Davis was out last night. Matt Wieters left the game. You could see kind of a shaken up Orioles team, but obviously you got to like kind of the stud right-handers here.
That was so annoying when you obviously retweeted it from the account and I saw it. I wasn't aware that Davis was out until like 5:15 or something. And I just went, no, come on. I love that. I like him again too. If he's in the lineup, I think it's a great matchup for him and a great price. Once again, I think Machado's a great price, but yeah, overall getting beat up there, huh?
Yeah, and you got to like the lefties against Eovaldi, and that's just a matter of, the 2-1s you're hoping that are in the lineup are Wieters and Davis. So
yeah.
You look at Eovaldi in 376 WOBA, but the lefties 1.99 home runs per nine, and even righties have hit him a little bit better than years past. So 322 WOBA, 1.55 home runs per nine. So obviously not scared away from Scope, Machado, Jones, Trumbo, even though he's a little bit expensive.
Yeah, I think they're all in play, as does Vegas. So definitely like those prices once again.
Yeah, definitely. And on the other side, I mean, I like Beltran McCann. I'm not really a fan of Ellsbury and Gardner at their price tags. So I think that's just my take on the Yankees. I'm not really a huge fan of those prices overall in general, outside the 3 and 4 guys.
I could get down with a 4-person stack there. I think there is some upside, but at the same time, yeah, definitely overpriced. But I do like Beltran. Even McCann, that's a little expensive for him. But I do think that top 4 is in play as a full stack.
Yeah, they definitely are. I definitely agree with you. And in Yankee Stadium, I mean, obviously you got to like lefties there with that short porch on the right.
Yeah.
Mets and Cubs here. Jake Arrieta versus Noah Syndergaard, and obviously this one's the high price pitching duel of the night. And these Cubs aren't priced down like they're facing Syndergaard, so I think that's just an easy fade for me on a full slate, and I'm not really looking to attack Arrieta either.
Yeah, this one was pretty easy for us. They didn't really price anyone down too far. So normally when you get one of these, it's kind of like someone's like 2,500, and you at least give it a look, or I do. But you don't need to do that today. So I think we can just move on from this game.
Yeah, definitely. And Twins Tigers, I mean, this was another one we were looking at yesterday as being a high scoring. Definitely wasn't. But today, I mean, you got to like picking on both sides of the play here. And you look at the Tigers. I know they've been up and down against lefties, but it's really hard not to not like them against Tommy Malone, who's, allowing a 365 WOBA this year to right-handers, 1.38 home runs per nine. You're still getting Upton at a cheap price tag. Castellanos is pretty cheap. A lot of those guys are kind of in that mid-range. I mean, the only one who's deservingly priced is Kinsler because he's just handled lefties all season long.
Yeah, and the debate between first base, obviously, you can play both on FanDuel, but I think you go with Cabrera tonight. I think the 900 pay up is worth it versus the lefty Malone. So I'm probably going to Cabrera instead of Martinez at first tonight.
I could go either way. I think it's just going to be a matter of, if I need that extra cash to bump up another player, I might do so. They're both pretty equal in my eyes, but I definitely would kind of lean on Cabrera. Just given Malone, I mean, Martinez hits lefties well, so for me, it's just kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As far as the Twins go, I mean, their price tags are a little bit better than last night. I mean, Dozier's priced down. I know it's the righty-on-righty matchup, but there's some upside given how bad Sanchez has been against right-handers this year, and a lot of the home run potential from this Twins team. And I think you got to like Miguel Sano once again at 4-4, kind of as that big power option in tournaments.
Yeah, I could see the Nunez Sano Dozer kind of a sneaky little stack there. I do think there is some upside against Sanchez, so I kind of like that quite a bit actually as a more of a contrarian tournament move, but I think you could get some decent ownership percentage there.
Yeah, definitely. So it's definitely going to be a game that I'm circling again for offense.
Yeah.
Braves and Reds here next one, and for me, I like the Reds offense tonight against Tyrell Jenkins. I think it's definitely an intriguing option. For a lot of those guys, really 1 through 5, and they are a stackable team to me. Even though they are expensive, which is the downside, but I think you got to like their chances of scoring plenty of runs at home there.
Yeah, Votto, Bruce, Duvall. I think we can pretty much put it on the board that one of them hits a homer. I mean, there's pretty high odds at that. So I like that grouping. And as you mentioned, I think Cozart and Hamilton are also in play. Expensive, but not too overpriced, in my opinion. I think that's about right. So I think there's big fantasy production potential there.
Yeah, definitely agree. And you look at Billy Hamilton, that strike or that stolen base upside is there. We saw it last night. I mean, gets on 3 times, gets 3 stolen bases. I mean, that's what he'll give you when he does get on base. So he's going to run, and you got to like that at his price.
Yeah, absolutely.
So as far as the Brave side, I don't mind some of the right-handers taking some shots. Just given Reed, I mean, kind of a boomer bust play tonight. So in that ballpark, I still don't mind a Frank Gore. Just given Reed has allowed a ton of home runs to right-handers.
That's fair.
I mean, we talked about using him, but I mean, I still think given how bad he has been as allowing home runs, you still might take a shot at a Frank Gore.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Again, we there are some good plays, but at the same time, clearly there's downside with Reed as well. So you can't completely ignore that if you do like him tonight.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, if you're not a guy who's on him and you are looking to be a little bit different and take some Braves right-handers, I'm not against that.
Mm-hmm.
Giants and Red Sox here, and we got to love this one. I think more so on the Red Sox side, of course, just going up against Peavy, and they're expensive, and as you really expected them to be against Peavy, who's been better, but now he's facing a pretty good offense in Fenway Park, and maybe he has like a little revenge game. I mean, how pissed would people be if he came back and just kind of shut down the Sox offense tonight?
That'd be awful. Hey, here's your swerve though. Off of Coors and off of top pitching, I think this is a very viable move to stack this offense. I mean, obviously, you love Ortiz in this matchup. Bogarts bets. Hanley's decently priced, so I mean, I'm firing away with this Red Sox team tonight, even though they are highly priced. I think you look for this matchup as where you find your high priced guys.
Yep, I'm definitely in agreement with you. And I'm just looking at these prices. They are expensive. It is going to force you to kind of pay down and maybe punt a couple of other spots remaining around them, which I don't mind because we've already run through some teams like the Pirates who do give you punt options. So, as you mentioned, I mean, the Hanley discount at 3.9 from Ortiz at 5.6. I mean, obviously Ortiz is the preferred play, but I don't mind kind of mixing it up and maybe going with the Hanley and trying to be maybe a little bit contrarian within the stack.
That's fair. I like that. And I mean, it saves you 1,700, so that's kind of a really big deal.
Yeah, definitely. And as far as the Giants side of things go, I mean, Porcello's been hit harder by righties this year. 342 over 1.48 home runs per 9. It's been kind of tough on lefties, but still, I don't mind a Brandon Belt, Posey, Crawford. I don't mind that kind of range. Just in Fenway Park, a little bit better for both of them. I don't know. Those prices aren't that bad. I know Purcell's the tougher of the matchups, but I don't hate the Giants as kind of a contrarian value tonight.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm not necessarily targeting someone specific in this lineup. I kind of think, like most Giants nights, it's going to be a collective effort. That's kind of the downfall of Porcello. But yeah, a belt is or a Posey is a decent guy to target for in terms of odds of potential there.
Yeah, definitely. Indians and Royals, next one here, Brian Flynn versus Danny Salazar. And these Indians bats, I mean, continuously priced up here on DraftKings. I mean, obviously Napoli, you got to like, and you got to like Lindor, you got to like Davis, all hitting from the right side. So I don't mind those three bats against Flynn. I think they're very targetable, and I do think I will mix them in and out of lineups tonight, even at their high prices.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Not badly priced. Probably not going to have a ton of exposure, but in tournaments, definitely a nice little swerve there.
Yeah, definitely. In the Royal side of things, I mean, really tough to kind of get behind them tonight against a good pitcher against Salazar, who's dominated them in the past. So that's one thing to keep an eye out for. And I mean, unless the Royals just wait until the last inning of the night, like last night, and they put up 7 runs in the 8th or whatever inning it was after Kluber leaves the game. So maybe they'll do that again and pay off their worth.
Oh man, I mean Hosmer is 2,900, but at the same time, I don't think you can fire anyone off here from the Royals, at least confidently.
No, I don't think so either. Cardinals and Padres here next one, and I like some of these Cardinals prices. I like Piscotty at 3.9. I like Holiday at 3.6 against Rea, who kind of just your average right-handed arm, nothing special. So for me, I think those are the value plays I'm looking at. Obviously, a Diaz at 4.9 is a little pricey. Same thing with Randall Grichuk, who's hitting in the top half of the lineup. So
he's been mashing of late. 3 home runs in the last 7 games and like 8 hits in his last 8. It's not a hit streak, but he's got at least 1 hit in 8 of his last 9 games. So he's doing pretty good. He is overpriced for where he is and who he is as a player, though.
Yeah, I think so. And then that's the thing I don't like. It's 4,900. If he was 42 or 4,300, I'd be all over it. I'd be fine with it. But yeah, I mean, the Cardinals offense, I mean, I think they're an intriguing bunch tonight.
Definitely intriguing. Like you mentioned, the heart of the order there, Piscotty, Holiday, like that. I might go at Pham again tonight. Come on, Pham. But I mean, you're not too confident in him at this point, but at the same time, 3,500 isn't too bad of a price to pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. And on the Padres side, you're not really looking at anyone here against Martinez.
Nah.
Core's next here, Tyler Chatwood versus Blake Snell. Obviously, it was a down night for most of the bats outside of Trevor Story. Mm-hmm. Looking at some of these guys, I mean, obviously they're all expensive once again, but I think even more so, you got to like the Rays here. Just with guys like Longoria, Forsythe, I think you got to take a look at Brad Miller as kind of a shortstop with a lot of upside.
It's going to be painful to throw these prices in, but at the same time, I do like the upside there against Chatwood. Yeah, like you mentioned, Miller, the top 3 in that lineup, and really, I think you might be able to go with a Corey Dickerson at 39 or Steven Souza also at 39. So I think those are kind of the quote-unquote values from Coors tonight.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And Coors for me, I mean, I'm not jumping all lower to just fit them in. Like I'm not making sacrifices elsewhere to get them in. I think still going balance is the way to go. I'm not really just trying to pay down to pitching and really jam them into my lineups tonight.
Right.
As far as the Rockies go, I mean, they're a bit expensive. Obviously, Blake Snell, lefty on the hill. Arenado is obviously intriguing. Ryan Rayburn at 3.6. Trevor Story, kind of the same deal as last night where you're looking at the right-handers again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, I just think we're looking at the right-handers here. Blackman and Cargo in tournaments, but probably want to limit that exposure because of the price.
Yeah, definitely an agreement. Blue Jays and Diamondbacks next one here, Aaron Sanchez versus Zach Godley, and I think you got to like the Blue Jays offense here. It's kind of another swerve off of Coors and maybe even equally to that game. So obviously I'm a big fan of really the front 4 there. Ezekiel Carrera, decent value. But I do think the Jays are worthy of a stack. I do like them as one-offs as well.
Yeah, give me that Donaldson and Encarnacion combo. I don't care if it's 10-5, whatever. I'm throwing him in there. I like it. And yeah, as you mentioned, I think we can look at the top four in this lineup. Carrera gives you a little bit of relief, not enough relief to sort of average out those high end salaries of Donaldson and Encarnacion and even a Sanders, but he is a decent value. So I mean, it's gonna hurt, but I think you can make tournament lineups with that grouping in there.
Yeah, I definitely do too. I mean, they're expensive. They are a pivot off the cores. Still probably should carry some ownership just because it's kind of an obvious situation still for the Blue Jays. But on a full slate, it'll probably dwindle down. As far as the Diamondback side of things go, I'm not really in love with any of these guys, especially at their price tags. I don't really see myself picking out Sanchez here.
No, neither do I.
Rangers and A's, and oh boy. Yeah, Kyle Washington, Lincecum. I mean, I'm looking for offense here. I'd be very disappointed, and I'd question everything in the world if there was an offense here tonight. You got to look at Lotion.
There'll be offense. It'll just be like Jet Bandy and Elvis Andrus with 4 home runs between them, and then we're gonna be so angry because it's honestly worse for me when the team gets like 7 runs but just none of your stack hits. That's worse than a team just getting shut out.
Well, it's like the Angels. I mean, the Angels will single you to death at some times. I mean, they'll just, or it's kind of like the night when they put up 21 and like Trout had like a pretty average night by his consideration.
Like 2 hits.
All CJ Crone.
It's just so it's the worst because you look at the box score, you're like 9 runs, yeah, and it's like the Twins, like last man in the order hit 2 home runs. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is
6 RBIs.
I think that's happened this year.
Yeah,
I think it has. So yeah, it's the worst. No, honestly though, Beltre 2,700, Fielder 29, Mazzara 29. I mean, you just have to take shots with some of those guys. I think.
Yeah,
the home run upside's definitely there.
Yeah, I love the value there. I mean, Odor was a guy you talked about yesterday who had a solid night. I think that's in play again. Chu, questionable once again. Probably is going to be more closer to sitting out. But if he was in the lineup, I think that makes it a really front 5. That's fun to stack. And I'm with you. I mean, you look at Lincecum. I mean, the lefties have hit him well in this season. Righties too. And you got to look at the other side of things. I mean, Kyle Loesch is bad. He made his start as projected. Was bad. All those Angels bats outside of Trout in the front 5 are all under 4K. So I think there is a lot of great value in this game.
Agreed. Yeah, especially in that Angels lineup. I think we can go with Cole Calhoun again. 39's not bad. And as you mentioned, I just think Loesch is going to continue to struggle. So I think there's a lot of guys in that lineup that are in play.
Yeah, definitely with you. Houston and Oakland here, Dallas Keuchel versus Dylan Overton, and we'll jump in the A's real quick. We mentioned in the pitcher pod the guys that they really have to watch out for are Danny Valencia, Marcus Semien, and Jake Smolinski. So I think with that being said, if you're not using Keuchel and you maybe think he has an off night or gives up a couple of runs, it's probably going to be from those few guys. So I think GPP or those A's 3 right-handed bats and Chris Davis too, so make that 4. Are the guys who I would probably target away, which is because of their success against left-handers.
Yeah, I don't think this is a value A's lineup tonight. I think if you're going to go with A's, you go with sort of the bigger bats in the lineup, the Semien, Valencia, even Chris Davis with that home run potential. So, yeah, definitely looking at those guys there.
Yeah, definitely them too. And you look at Houston, I don't know. I mean, I kind of like a couple of those cheap right-handers, even though Correa hasn't handled the bat well against lefties this year. Overton doesn't miss bats. He's been hit hard. Obviously, he's just a small sample size in the bigs, but right-handers have tagged him pretty well. So guys like Correa, Carlos Gomez, Evan Gattis, I know it's not a great ballpark, but I don't know. I kind of like the value there as far as GPP plays.
Per source, Dylan Overton is actually aiming at the bat. He's actually trying to hit the bats. So that's an important narrative to follow for tonight's game. Beyond that, though, yeah, I'm not in love with this Astros team. I do think they have potential, though. So it's kind of like wishy-washy for me, and they're highly highly priced other than Correa. I get what you're saying though with the value bats. I do like that.
Yeah, the Springer and Altuve, I mean, obviously those prices are a little bit more damaging to your lineup than those other ones. So I think you can afford the risk at the paydown prices. Still, Springer and Altuve do carry, like, they're going to carry a little bit of buzz just because it's a lefty. Obviously, it's not the greatest park to hit in, but I don't mind them. I might have a share or two coming in of the night.
Right.
White Sox and Mariners, Wade Miley versus Jose Quintana. I don't mind some of the right-handers. I don't mind Cruz at 4-2. I don't mind that price tag just because we know Cruz's success against lefties. He's the only one, though.
Wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I like Cruz, but other than that, I'm scratching this lineup off the slate. I'm literally taking my pen and scratching them off the paper so that the paper, it like crumples up and they're just off the page. That's what I'm doing. You ever get angry and just then the paper's ruined and then you just go, oh, why did I do that? That was really dumb.
No, I've never done that, but
Oh, okay.
We can move on to the White Sox. Clearly, you need to maybe get to some sort of anger management course or something like that. If you're just ripping through paper and damaging the desk down below.
It was much. I'd say it was 75% boredom and 25% anger. So it wasn't like I was digging in. It was more just like, can this day get over? And then it wouldn't. And then you just have a mess. And then you get ink on because I'm a lefty, you'd get ink on your writing hand, and it's just a mess. It's just a mess, man. It's just a mess.
Well, speaking of mess, we can talk about this White Sox offense. And do they have a shot against Miley at these prices?
That was a professional segue. No.
They still, God,
no.
Every damn time. I'm freaking always. You look at Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, Melky Cabrera. Fraser's the only one who's expensive, but Miley, not a good lefty. There is some home run potential, and the prices always seem to draw me in. And not that I'm playing them in cash games, but I just think I always look at a GPP team and just pay up a pitcher because you can stack at the White Sox. And by God, one of these days it's going to hit, Russell, I tell you.
It is. And I'll be there to celebrate with you and pop that champagne. I obviously like this White Sox team, but you can fire away with Abreu. I'm cool with that. Melky too, but I'm just not too confident in that. They've ruined my confidence in them. So.
Oh, by far. Do I enjoy plugging them in and night out in the GPP stack and getting the two top aces? No. Do I think it's going to pan out one time? Sure. That's why I keep doing it.
Yes, exactly.
So, overall, I think the right-handers at those prices are sort of intriguing in the use that I just explained how I use them.
Yes, agreed.
That's going to wrap things up here with the DK Daily Trot. Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all great tools and content.